During Adolf Hitler's reign as dictator of Germany, he and his fellow Nazis controlled close to all aspects of the German state and society. But there was always one vital part whose trust he never managed to get: the German Army Command and its generals. The highest-ranking generals during Hitler's reign, Wilhelm Keitel, Alfred Jodl and Hitler's second-in-command, Luftwaffe General Hermann Göring, were all committed Nazis. The same was several other top generals, but not nearly all. A large part of the German officers' corps, below Keitel, Jodl and Göring, was made up of old-school, Prussian officers who favored a return to power of the old Emperor William II and the Hohenzollern dynasty. One of these Hitler skeptics was Major General Henning von Tresckow. Tresckow's family had over 300 years of military heritage in the Prussian army, with an impressive 21 generals among his extended family members and relatives. His father Leopold had been a cavalry general and present at Kaiser Wilhelm I's coronation in 1871. His grandfather on his mother's side had been Prussia's Minister of Education. Already in 1941, Tresckow started to plot on how to get Hitler out of power by assassinating him, but deemed it impossible due to Hitler's enormous popularity after the conquest of France and the promising start of the invasion of the Soviet Union. As the war luck turned to the worse for Germany in 1942 and 1943 with the disastrous defeat at Stalingrad, Allied progress in North Africa and the increased bombing of German cities by Allied bombers operating out of England, faith in the Nazi regime declined. Tresckow, now Chief Operations Officer in Army Group Center on the Eastern Front, teamed up with General Friedrich Albrecht, commanding the replacement army back home in Germany, to come up with a plan to assassinate Hitler and seize power in Germany. Immediately after Tresckow had managed to kill Hitler, Albrecht's replacement army was to immediately seize civilian and military control over Germany, as the regular army and the SS was busy occupying France and Eastern Europe. Tresckow's superior, Army Group Center commanding General Gunther von Kluge, was fully aware of the plans regarding Hitler, but he chose to ignore it and left the conspirators in peace. Tresckow had recruited several other high-ranking officers on the AGC's general staff. Colonel Rudolf Christoph von Gersdorf, Tresckow's intelligence liaison officer. Lieutenant Fabian von Schlabrendorf, Tresckow's special operations officer. Major George von Boselager, commander of the cavalry forces stationed near AGC headquarters. Along with several other lieutenants and captains. After the defeat at Stalingrad, both the German Army Group South and Center was pushed back westwards. On March 13, 1943, Adolf Hitler was stopping by the AGC headquarters in Smolensk in present-day Ukraine on his way back to Berlin. Hitler would meet with General Kluge and later have dinner with the general staff in the officers' mess. General Tresckow and his companions chose to smuggle a bomb, in the form of a case of Cointreau, onto Hitler's airplane. The bomb was made with British plastic explosives and a copper chloride tube as a detonator, which did not give off ticking sounds or the burning smell of a fuse. First, the plan went well. General Tresckow's acquaintance, Lieutenant Colonel Heinz Brandt, was easily convinced to bring the case along as a gift to Tresckow's old friend, General Helmut Stief. Stief was stationed in Berlin and already a convinced anti-Nazi, but unaware of Tresckow's plans out east. Lieutenant Schlabrendorf handed the suitcase over to a staff officer in Hitler's entourage right after activating the detonation mechanism. The detonator was designed to detonate about half an hour after takeoff when Hitler's plane would be close to Minsk, so the explosion hopefully would be attributed to Soviet air fire. General Albrecht in Berlin was ready to set his part of the plan into motion. The replacement army would seize control in Berlin, Munich and Vienna, in addition to seize control over all the main supplies for the army, navy and the SS, leaving them crippled and unable to return home and fight to keep the Nazi regime in power. The conspirators' attempt did not work out as planned. When Tresckow and his men learned that Hitler's plane had landed safely in Berlin, Lieutenant Schlabrendorf immediately got on the next plane back to meet with Stieff and retrieved the case containing the bomb. When he successfully got the case back, they inspected the case and found that the detonator didn't execute as planned. They attributed its faulty functioning to the cold temperature in the cargo room in Hitler's airplane. Thus ended another failed attempt at Hitler's life, but both the conspirators and the explosives would live to see another and more famous plot to assassinate the Nazi dictator.